guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I've got a treat for my fellow oily skinned humans. I am going to be putting to the test a technique that I have seen Jackie Aina do many times over and have been curious about for a really long time, which is setting down my primer with a translucent powder. Now I know we all like to say there are no rules in makeup, but I feel like it's generally pretty agreed upon that putting cream and liquid products on top of powders is usually kind of like a no-no. It has a tendency to make things look cakey, to lift product up, it cannot blend as easily. So the idea of applying your entire layer of foundation over a powdered face seems like it has the potential to go very wrong. At the same time, I feel like Jackie's makeup usually looks, pretty flawless on camera, and she also does this technique all the time. It's not like this was like a one-time gimmick that she did on her channel as a way to get views. Like, this is something she does regularly in her routine and has been doing for years, which leads me to believe there has to be something to it. So I decided it was finally about time that I actually try this technique for myself. As you may or may not know, I have very oily skin. I tend to get really greasy around the center of my face. I have large pores right around my nose, in between my eyebrows, and on my chin. So I am always constantly searching for products that will help to control shine, help my makeup to last longer, because oil generally, it breaks down makeup. So if you have oily skin, everything just doesn't tend to last as long on your face as maybe it would for someone that has normal or dry skin. So now clearly I'm already wearing my full face of makeup, so I already have some thoughts on this technique, which you guys are about to see. I will show you how everything applied, how my foundation went on, blush, bronzer, highlight, the whole 9 yards after doing this technique. And then we're also going to put it to a wear test and see whether or not I notice that my makeup lasts longer having done this technique than when I do it the way that I usually do. So if you are ready to see whether or not this technique is actually legit or just a gimmick, we're about to get into it. Okay, so let's jump right into things. I'm going to start by priming my face with my good old trusty standby, which is the Cotz Face Prime and Protect SPF 40. This is a silicone-based primer and sunscreen in one. It does a nice job of filling in pores and giving you a little bit of sun protection, and it has a slight tint to it. So even though it's a mineral sunscreen, it doesn't leave you with a really bad chalky white cast to your skin. Now, I will say this much. My skin today is already very glowy and hydrated. I'm trying out a new serum from Ole Henriksen that was sent to me through Influencer, and it is very dewy. So we are definitely going to need, I think, some extra oil control today, because we're going to be trying out a foundation with this technique that's not super matte, because I'm kind of curious to see if I take these extra steps, whether or not I notice that this foundation wears better. So what I think I want to do next is go in with this e.l.f. matte putty primer. This is maybe a little bit extra, but I do enjoy using this secondary primer right in my T-zone where I have the largest pores, just to give me that little bit of extra mattifying insurance. This is something that I've been doing lately and I've been really enjoying. So you need just the tiniest bit of this stuff. A little bit goes a long way. You definitely don't want to overdo it. And I just like to press this into, again, the areas of my T-zone where I have large pores. Okay, so now this is where the magic is supposed to happen. I'm gonna go ahead and set my primer with powder. Today I'm going to use the Fenty Beauty Pro Filtr setting powder. This one is pretty mattifying, and I actually don't love the way this looks when I set my foundation down with it, especially a matte foundation, because I feel like it can maybe be a little bit too much. But maybe since we're layering this underneath the foundation, it will give me that, extra mattifying goodness without making my makeup look too dry in the long run. And I'm gonna go ahead and use my Beauty Blender little pocket puff thing that I have here to apply this. It's honestly my favorite way to apply powder, because I feel like it really presses it into the skin and really melds it with the rest of your makeup as opposed to just dusting it on top. And then I feel like sometimes I lose a lot of powder, it fluffs everywhere, and also it can maybe be a little less even. So I'm just gonna tap this in the cap here, make sure the powder is distributed evenly, and then we're just gonna press and set this primer. Now, I think the worry with utilizing this technique is that your foundation is gonna go on like cakey, chunky, weird, you know, because you are applying a liquid on top of a powder, which is supposed to be like a big no-no in makeup. But I was watching, is it James Welsh? James or Robert? Which one is skincare and which one is makeup? Oh my god, I feel like a horrible person right now. Maybe it's Robert. I don't know. They're twins, and I watch both of their channels, and for whatever reason, I am totally blanking right now. But anyway, in his video where he was kind of reviewing Jackie's makeup techniques, and she did this, he did say that it made sense in that you are essentially creating a barrier between your skin and your foundation that will help to control the oil before it reaches your foundation, so your foundation is less likely to break apart. And he seemed to not be overly concerned with how the foundation would apply on top of a set primer base. So I'm very curious to see how this goes. All right, so just feeling my face quick. It feels very like velvety and soft. No tack left to it whatsoever. I'm looking very matte. So now it is time for the moment of truth. We're gonna go in with the Zoeva Authentic Skin Foundation, which I have been testing out over the last several weeks. I think that this is a beautiful product, but it does have a more dewy, satiny kind of finish to it, and it's not the most long wearing on my oily skin, so I'm really hoping that this will allow me to use this product and still have that really beautiful finish to my skin without ending up looking shiny after a few hours. Now, Jackie normally applies her foundation with a brush and not a sponge, so I'm going to try that technique today. So I just put a little bit of this product on the back of my hand. I'm going to pick some up on this Luxie foundation brush, and we'll see how it goes. I'm kind of going in with a stippling motion, a pressing motion, as opposed to a blending motion to start, because I'm a little bit afraid of disturbing everything that's underneath this product. I do definitely feel like it's drying down a lot faster than if I was just applying this straight over the primer without the powder. And I also feel like it is a little less dewy than it normally is when I wear it without the powder. Very interesting. This foundation, man, though, is beautiful. It gives such nice coverage. I feel like it's actually looking more full coverage right now than it normally does. Maybe again, that's just because of the powder, but I feel like it basically makes your skin look really perfected and beautiful while still looking like skin. All right, you guys, so here is the foundation applied over my set primer. I feel like it's looking pretty smooth and pretty flawless. It's maybe like a hair cakier looking than it normally does, because again, this is a very natural, really beautiful looking foundation. So with this sort of set primer base and all these mattifying products, I'm definitely noticing around my nose especially that it looks a little bit cakier, a little bit more makeup-y, but overall I feel like my face looks very smooth and very even. Let's see how it feels. Okay, so it's definitely a little bit tacky. We'll see if this dries down or not. I'm like a little afraid to layer like more powder on top of this because I'm afraid that that's gonna look even more cakey, but it might be necessary so that way I don't get like any kind of weird skipping or patching with the rest of my face products. While we let that set for a minute, I'm gonna go ahead and conceal my under eyes. I'm gonna use the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. Really like this a lot. It's a beautiful product, and it's also really great for spot concealing. So I'm just going to use a little e.l.f. concealer brush and just buff this to the under eye, and also make sure that my foundation is blended, because I feel like, you know, there was a little bit of a line of demarcation where I left off with that brush, trying not to get it into my eyeshadow. All right, cool. So under eyes are concealed. I'm actually not going to set this because I feel like it doesn't need it. With it having a matte finish, it goes on really beautifully, it kind of sets itself, and I don't really want to layer on extra powder that will make my under eyes look more crepey. So let's see how the face is doing. Okay, so it definitely feels more set than it was before, not quite as tacky. It's not super matte, I would say, like not super dry, but I'm not really as concerned at this point about applying the rest of my makeup. Speaking of which, so today we're going to be using this magnetic palette from ColourPop that I put together. I actually just sort of reconfigured this morning. I've had these face singles for probably a year now, and I've barely used them, and I don't think I've used them on camera at all, so I thought they might be fun to play with today. And then I went through my collection of single eyeshadows, and I kind of curated this really pretty sort of like muted springy color palette. So all of these bigger pans are Nabla shadows, and then the ones in this middle row here are mostly ColourPop, and then one shadow from MBA Cosmetics. So I can list for you guys in the description box the specific shadows that I'm wearing on my eyes. Today, to create this look, I went for pink and green, which is not usually a color combination you see a lot of, but I think it's actually really pretty. So the bronzer that I have from ColourPop that we're going to be using today is called Afternoon Delight. It does look like a little bit more of a warmer shade, so I'm not gonna like heavily contour with it. I think I'm just gonna use it to sort of lightly warm up my complexion around the perimeter. I'm going to apply it with this Wet n Wild brush from the Pac-Man collection. This is just a lot of fun. I haven't reached for it in a while, so why not? Ooh, snap. Okay, so this has a ton of powder kick up. I am a little afraid of how intense this is going to go on, so we're going to tap off a lot of that excess and hope for the best. Oh yeah, definitely a very warm, summery kind of shade, but pretty. And again, I'm taking this a little bit higher, almost kind of where I'd apply blush, as opposed to concentrating this like a little lower where I would contour because of the color of this. It's definitely not a contouring shade. Take a little of the residual, across the bridge of the nose. I feel like this always makes you look super tan, because I don't know about you guys, but my nose always gets noticeably tan when I'm, out in the sun for a while. So I feel like putting a little bit of bronzer on your nose makes it look like you've actually like been out in the sun. All right. I actually really like that a lot. I think that color is beautiful. Like I said, I definitely have gotten like barely any use out of these products, so that is exciting. And I feel like it went on really nicely over that foundation, even without setting it with any powder. It's not patching, it's not skipping and sticking or doing anything weird, so far, so good. And then for blush, I'm going to use this brush from Juno & Co. This is one of their Juno Babe brushes. It's a nice, small, tapered powder brush, so I feel like this will be good for just applying product to the apples of the cheeks. And this blush I have is called To the 10. It's a really nice sort of light baby pink. So we'll just pop this on the apple, rosy things up a little bit. Yeah, that's nice and soft. Not too crazy and intense, which is kind of what I wanted. And if you want to kind of like tie everything in, you can take a little residual product from your blush brush just over where you applied that bronzer. All right, and then last but not least, we're gonna highlight the face. And this highlight that I have here is called Boy Next Door. Now, when I swatched this, I feel like it looked very glittery. I don't know that I necessarily love this formula. It's pretty and it's very light reflective, but it kind of seems like the kind of highlight that's a lot of micro shimmer as opposed to it being like a creamy highlight. So we'll see how it looks on the skin. I'm going to apply this with another little Wet n Wild brush. Ooh, definitely some glow. Again, this is kind of a powdery one. And yeah, thin, a little shimmery, but not bad. I'm gonna just go back in with my blush brush and then blend this into the blush a little more. All right, you guys, so here is the completed base. Let's take a look in the mirror. Honestly, my skin right now looks pretty freaking incredible, I'm not gonna lie. I do really, really like the way that this foundation looks on the skin. My one biggest complaint so far has been that it's not super mattifying and long wearing, so I'm really, really excited to see how it holds up using this new technique. The dryness that I was seeing around my nose already is starting to look better now that this has just been sitting on my skin for a little bit longer. So I do definitely feel that applying the foundation over that powdered primer like did not screw it up at all. I feel like my skin looks flawless, and it looks matte, but like not flat. It's really interesting. Sometimes when I apply powder over foundation, even one that's luminous like this, it looks powdery for a while. And this, I feel like, because the powder's underneath, like it definitely mattified this a bit in the way that it finished, but it still retained just like a teeny bit of that satiny sheen, so it looks really nice and natural. And everything blended really beautifully still on top of my foundation. I didn't have any skipping, patching, anything weird. So far I am really, really happy. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup, and then I'll meet you guys back here. All right, you guys, so my look is complete. I just tried out this Joah Lash Uprising mascara for the very first time, and it's really nice. It's like a good balance of volumizing and lengthening. The brush was like a little on the big side. It's you know, one of those hourglass shaped natural bristle brushes, so I felt like I had to be a little careful not to get mascara on my lid. But yeah, I like the way that is looking. So at this point now, I think it's time for me to go about my day. I have some more filming I need to do and some things around the house, and we're going to wear test this foundation with this technique and see how long it takes before I get shiny, because I know inevitably it will happen. When you have oily skin, you never stay completely matte all day long, but we'll see if this holds up better than when I wear the powder on top of the foundation. So it's about 1:40 in the afternoon right now. Not ideal for like a full day wear test, but I definitely will be able to wear this for a while, so I will check in with you guys in a few hours. Hey guys, so it is just after 5 o'clock, so I wanted to pop on here, do a little check-in, show you guys how my face situation is holding up. I just finished filming another video, and man, that was brutal. I am so out of practice right now. I swear I must have talked for 2 hours, and it probably will only be like 25 minutes worth of footage. It's gonna be real fun to edit later. Anyway, I'm standing in front of my window so we can get some nice natural light, and so you guys can see how my face is looking. Honestly, I feel like it's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm starting to see like a little bit of shininess, maybe right around my nose. Usually this is where my oils start to peek through the fastest, but I mean, man, overall, this foundation is beautiful. And I mean, I already liked it, but I feel like with this technique, it's holding up even better than usual. So far, Jackie, you may be onto something. Anyway, I am exhausted. I feel like filming just like took all the energy out of me, so I'm gonna go chill out. I'm gonna go like lay down on the couch, maybe crochet for a little while, watch some YouTubes. But I definitely will check back in with you guys in another couple of hours. We'll see how things are looking. I'm not gonna blot yet because I don't really feel like I need to, but this is still fairly early in the wear process. What has this been on for, what, like 3 hours and 20-ish minutes or so? So definitely not even close to like a full day's worth of wear yet, but so far looking pretty good. Hey guys, so it is just after 9 o'clock and I wanted to do a final check-in / verdict on this mattifying, long-wearing makeup technique. So I have not touched up my makeup at all today, and it's been on my face for what, 7 hours-ish, a little more than that. So I am clearly starting to look pretty dewy in the center of my face, which I guess is to be expected, but I feel like nothing is really breaking apart weird, and actually like my blush and bronzer have held up pretty decently. So is this eyeshadow. It's impressive. So just for curiosity's sake, I'm gonna use one of these little blotting sheets, and I'm just going to touch up my makeup. Oh yeah, that's lovely. And we'll see how this looks once I give it a little blot. Oh, the oily skin struggle. All right, so I just kind of removed a little bit of the extra shine on my face. I feel like, as you guys can see right here around my nose, now the foundation is breaking up a little bit there, so I probably would if I was going to continue to wear this and not go wash my face, which is what I'm about to do. But you probably could easily, with like a brush or like a beauty blender, just kind of tap that out and fix it quick. But I mean, like if I was gonna wear this to work and this is how my face looked after 7.5 hours, I would not be mad at it. So I definitely approve of this technique. I feel like it did help my foundation to wear pretty well. I didn't use a setting spray today, so that's an extra step I probably would also do to kind of help lock things in. So I'm gonna try that again the next time that I wear this foundation. But yeah, I think it does work. If you have really oily skin and you want to make your foundation look a little more full coverage and be a little bit more long wearing and matte, I do think that the extra powder underneath the foundation kind of does create that extra barrier to keep the, like, you know, oils from your skin from breaking the foundation down as quickly. So you guys will have to let me know if you've ever tried this before. Did it work for you? Did you like the way your makeup looked? Did you notice any difference? Leave all the details for me in the comments down below. And yeah, I think that's it for today's video. I'm gonna go get ready for bed because I have nothing else to do with my life right now. But I hope you guys are doing well and staying safe. If you want to see yours truly again and you're new, I hope you will consider clicking that subscribe button. If you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. You guys know I appreciate your support so much. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.